Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. We're back from about a month vacation, very much needed, with my crew and myself, and it was wonderful, and it's been a good summer. Today we have from East Providence, Rhode Island, Lucie Contente. I said it right?
Yes.
She is an author and a cook. All right, so she's written a great book called Gluten and Gluten-Free, Cooking in Perfect Harmony. When did you start writing the book?
Well, what happened is initially I had a blog.
Yeah.
And I was putting a lot of recipes on the blog. And I really wanted more interaction with people. And so last August, I decided to take everything off the blog, put it down, and see if I can write a cookbook.
Yeah.
And that's how this came to fruition.
And about how long ago?
Last August, and it came out in the end of September, beginning of October.
And this is your first ever book?
Yes.
Boy, we got a lot to tell you about her. She's got part 2 coming up.
Yes.
Plus, she has written a children's book. We'll talk about that in a while. When I went through this, you can tell I earmark things. When a person finds out that they have a gluten allergy, grocery shopping, besides feeling maybe strange, how do you go into the grocery store and know what to do? Do you have a list?
No. Initially, honestly, once the doctor diagnoses you, they just say, have a good day.
That's it?
That's it. And not only could I not have gluten, I couldn't have dairy. So I have talked to other people, and they all feel the same way. You almost walk out of there like there was a death of sorts, because your life as you knew it is not going to be that anymore. Initially, I knew I could have proteins and vegetables and fruits, and that's kind of what we ate for a while in my household. Yeah. And then I just realized, this is a lot of life in me, and I had to figure something out. It was really a process of learning, and I started seeing nutritionists. Some were good, some weren't so good. Like one of them said, eat salad. I said, for 30 years for all my meals? I mean, that's not really what I want to do. It's okay once in a while, but, another one would be very earthy. Yeah. When you come from the thought process, your meat, your potato, your vegetables, you have a certain idea of what your meal should be. So it's just they weren't in sync with what I was going to eat. I just had to do a lot of research online.
What were your symptoms?
Oh, it's like you bloat up about 8 months pregnant, and then you have a flu every day of your life. And so really, it's awful to wear pants. It's awful.
It sounds like IBS.
It's exactly like that.
I have IBS.
But every day.
Since I was 19. Yeah. Seems like the more the years go by, it gets a lot less. Oh. But it's not fun. You had pain, actually?
Oh, yeah, like someone's punching you in the stomach. Now, everybody has a different variation of how much pain they get. Yeah. Some people who have celiac don't even have any pain, but there's still internal damage that's happening.
Did you go to a GI doctor?
Yes, I did.
Did you have to have the test?
No, you can't, because what happened is my process probably started 9 years ago, where I was having stomach issues. And so that nutritionist said, let's just get off of gluten for 8 weeks and see what happens. And I would write my food down, and I felt better. Yeah. So by the time I went to see the gastroenterologist, it was 5 years ago, and they have to put you back on gluten in order to have an upper endoscopy, and that's not an option for me. No. So they did genetic testing, and that came out and showed that I had it.
So when you came down with it, they didn't tell you when the doctor left? You left his office, they didn't give you, usually they'll give you something, like a piece of paper with the foods that you can and cannot eat.
No, actually what happened too is, so I'd been tested for gluten, I'd been tested for dairy, and then there's another thing called SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And she's like, you failed all 3. So
are these blood tests?
No, the dairy is you blow into a tube.
Okay.
The SIBO is also similar to that, and the only one that was the blood test was the celiac.
Okay, so the tests themselves aren't horrible. They're pretty easy to
They're
go
not.
through.
They're not.
Yeah.
And honestly, some people did, through the year of speaking with a lot of people, they don't even know you can do genetic testing to get it done, because a lot of people say, I'm not going back on gluten to have this done. And if your doctor knows your situation and knows a lot about it, they'll know that you don't have to go back on it to get diagnosed.
Well, Lucy, does this mean we have to avoid like a lot of bread?
It is wheat products. But you know what? Once you start going gluten-free, you realize everybody puts wheat in everything. It's in chicken broth. It's in soy sauce and things that you don't know. So initially I just thought breads, pastas, your basic.
Sure.
And it's not. Mm-hmm. So like you were saying, the grocery shopping, I found an app that lets me read the barcode. Like you put in the app what you're allergic to or don't want to eat.
Sure.
And so I put in mostly gluten, and once you read the barcode, it'll tell you stop, don't have it. So it made shopping a lot better, a lot easier, and you're just amazed at what gluten is in.
Is it in, good Lord, is it in chocolate?
No, that's dairy for me, though, unfortunately. Yeah, so...
Coffee?
No, I can have coffee.
You
just
can.
don't put milk in it. It's okay, because I've now learned to drink it black, and it took me a month, and I can do it. It's okay.
We're talking with Lucie Contente, and she is the author of this great book, Gluten and Gluten-Free Cooking in Perfect Harmony. So, on an average day, how do you start off with breakfast? Help other people understand what to do.
Now, today is much different than when my journey began, honestly. There are so many products out there. I have a website. It's the same name as the book. It's all one word, gluten and gluten-free cooking in perfect harmony.com. And on it, it shows you the different kinds of foods that you can eat. I can't put the name brands of products in there, but I put them all on my page of the things that I've liked and things that you should just go out to the stores. Like Purdue makes a perfect gluten-free chicken to eat. I mean,
see, I didn't know that.
I know, it's amazing the things that are out there, and on the website there's a lot of places that you can just join. There's a site called Gluten Free on Facebook. There's a site Gluten Free things that you want to sell on there. So you meet a lot of people from around the world. They give you different ideas. People share recipes. You just really have to get out there. But unfortunately, not everyone has access to a website or a smartphone. I met a nice older lady yesterday, as a matter of fact. My friend asked me to talk to her because she's gluten-free, and she just didn't. My friend didn't think that she was doing well, and she really needed advice. So I just sat with her for an hour, and we reviewed a lot of things. And she doesn't have a computer, nor did she have a phone that she can. And so the library is the only thing that she can go to.
Sure.
But it was great. I love interacting with people and just sharing the story and helping somebody. And
do you have a support group that you've started at all?
I have not.
That would be great. You'd be great at it.
Thank you. Me going to book expos, book fairs. I just really, that's my goal. I didn't seek to do this. It found me.
It found you.
It found me.
And it's in your family then? The gluten
No, nobody else I know has it.
But it was in your ancestry test, right?
It was my DNA, right? And I asked both my mother and my father still living. They both got tested, and they do not have it. I have 55 immediate cousins. I don't know of anyone that has it.
Where did it come from?
It could be skipping a generation. It had to be something like that.
She has a chapter called Always Be Prepared.
Yes.
What's that all about?
That is, for a gluten-free person to go out for the day is not like you. You can just go stop at any kind of store, pick up a snack, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in my pocketbook. I have 2 or 3 snacks. It could be anything from sunflower seeds to some kind of gluten-free product that you just have it because you remember that you can't have gluten all day. Other people don't remember. Believe me, that is something that happens in my life still. So you have to take care of you. And nothing is worse than being hungry and not being able to find something you can have.
Like if you go out to a restaurant, well, how do you get through the menu?
The menu is interesting. The first thing we ask, is there a gluten-free menu? And then you go through, as a matter of fact, before we came here, we went to a restaurant and we asked, and she said, yes, there's a little GF next to them. But there was probably 4 things that we could have, I could have on there. And even then, the hamburger without a bun. You know, you just you just go with it at this point. It's food. You eat. You've been nourished. Move on. You know, have a better meal later. And
how did your doctor know the difference? How come he didn't say IBS versus gluten? That's
because IBS is something that, and that still happens to us. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm just going with what I think it is. It's IBS can be caused by stress. Yeah. It can be caused by something, whereas celiac is in you.
Just there.
It's you. It's just a way your body's processing things.
Sure.
So.
And your children don't have it?
No.
God bless them.
I know. I hope they never do. And that's why I created this kind of cookbook, was that all the recipes are written gluten-free, but they're written in the traditional sense as well, and how to make both at the same time.
Yes, there's a lot of recipes in here.
There's 70 recipes in
Breakfast, everything. Bacon and egg omelet, zucchini bread. Making bread without any wheat. That's amazing, huh?
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of good gluten-free flours now, and a lot of different variations. You know, like there's even
clam cakes.
Clam cakes, I was just going to say, and they're really, really good. And I brought some to my friend yesterday so she could try them. And
did she like them?
Yes. You know what's funny is my friend and her husband are not gluten. They don't have a gluten problem, but her friend did. So I brought over a few snacks. One was that, and another one was I made a blueberry crumble.
Oh.
And it was gluten-free, but they enjoyed it just as much as the gluten-free person.
I bet you if you hadn't told them, they would know.
No.
I wouldn't know.
I do that a lot when I go to a party. I always bring something that I can eat because I'm sure to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's really what you do too. You know, always bring something that you know is okay for you to eat, and that's a staple in my life. That's all I do.
Because I know when let's say we threw a party, I wouldn't know unless someone told me. I think you've got a great idea there that you bring what you can eat to it, and then as the hostess, I would say, "Oh, great, that's fine."
Yes.
Because I think as a hostess, you're like, I'm so glad you're taking care of yourself because I don't want you getting sick at my party.
Exactly. Exactly.
You got a great one. Your medications, alcohol and candy. What's that?
Who knows that there was gluten in medication? I didn't for a long time, and I had been taking some medications and didn't realize. You know, there's actual websites that you can Google that show you all the medications that are safe for you to have.
Yeah.
Alcohol. These are all things I never thought initially that had gluten in them. Again, on my website, I show the alcohols that you can have, whereas wine is made of grapes, so you're fine with that, basic wine.
Yeah. What about beer? I would think that'd be high. Gluten?
No, gluten, it has malt, and malt is wheat. So beer, unless it says gluten-free beer, don't go near it. But most of the harder alcohols, like vodka, they get distilled, and apparently the rule is if it gets distilled, I think more than 3 or 4 times, it distills the wheat out of it. Yes.
And that's it. We just don't know how many times they've distilled
it. Well, that's why. And again, I did put pictures up on my site that shows the alcohols that are safe, and in the different, the vodkas, the gins, all the different groups, and they have websites for that.
We're talking with Lucie Contente, and she is a cook and author. She's written the book Gluten and Gluten-Free Cooking in a Perfect Harmony. Now comes the next part. You've got Take 2 coming up.
Yes, I do.
When's that going to be out?
I honestly think next week. It's at the publishers, and I've already done round 2 of the edits. I get 3 rounds. And the other one will be done today or tomorrow. And that's 70 more recipes, the same format as this book: breakfast, lunch, dinner, appetizers. And I am really proud of it. I didn't create all the recipes, and I say my friends, my families. If I've seen something, I will make it gluten-free, or I did create some of them.
Pasta sauce?
That's, I hate to say it, but every time I hear we love it in our house. Yeah. It's really good.
Things that you wouldn't think you'd be able to have. She's figured out what you can have.
That's
rice pilaf.
Yes.
Rice without wheat.
Well, right, again. The potatoes, rice don't have wheat, but rice pilaf, they put those little orzos in them. That's the part that has the wheat.
That's the gluten.
That's
part.
the gluten.
So there's something called success rice. So that's just kind of plain. So that's okay.
Well, if you buy something in a package, generally the little package that has the powder part, that's where you'll find your wheat.
Okay, so when you're looking in a grocery store, what do people look for? Like the little GF? Gluten-free?
It could say GF. It's gluten-free on the front. It will say that. If it doesn't, if you read the ingredients. You'll see if it's wheat based or has malt. Those are the two main ones that we look for.
Lucie, how can people get a hold of you and get your book?
Definitely go on my website, www, all one word, gluten and gluten-free cooking in perfect harmony.com, and you can send me an email.
Sounds good. If somebody has a question and they're out there thinking, geez, I'm really nervous, I don't know what to do, they can connect with you.
Absolutely, and I do have a Facebook site with the same name, and you can send messages that way as well.
Okay, Lucie, Lucie,
yes.
Contente, Contente.
Yes.
And so don't be shy if you're new at this gluten business. This is serious stuff.
Yeah.
So who wants to be doubled over?
No.
I remember my first IBS attack. I was 19, visiting my college sweetheart. Everyone was asleep in the house. I didn't know what had happened. I was like this, on the floor.
Yes.
Through the years, they found out a medication that just relaxes the inside, and then I'm okay.
Yeah.
But usually, for me, it's caused if I haven't eaten enough during the day, or if I'm off schedule, a lot of events, too many things going on, I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
But now I know how to treat it and ease up on things like... not so much on the chocolate and stuff like that. Ease up for a little while on that. By the way, she has a flourless chocolate cake at her gluten-free. That is pretty cool. Boy, I could get into that and swim in it. I'd take a bath of chocolate if I could. So unsweetened cocoa powder, eggs, vanilla, salt, sugar, a stick salted butter, right? And semi-sweet chocolate chips. How easy is that?
Right.
And these are all gluten-free.
Yes, absolutely.
What's your favorite dessert?
It sounds strange, but there's a bean pie in there.
Bean?
Did you see that? It is really interesting because it's the consistency of a pumpkin pie.
There it is.
Yes,
yeah.
but it tastes like a spice cake.
It looks like a pumpkin pie.
And it's so easy. You put everything into a blender and you pour it into your 9-inch pie plate and you put it in the oven.
What does it taste like?
Like a spice pie of some kind.
Sort of pumpkin-y, a little bit maybe?
No pumpkin-y at all. No,
just
spice.
spicy.
Yeah. I had a thing at the library where I did a presentation in food tasting, and there was 23 people, which was great, my first one.
Sure.
And I was giving that as a food tasting, and the little cups were this big. The whole pie went. Like, people just went back with thirds and fourths, so it's everyone who's tried it has loved it.
When you give presentations and book signings, do you ever have a little, samples like that for people?
I do. I do have samples.
That's excellent. Yeah. That's good. I bet they're surprised as you know what. It tastes how good it is.
I did that, and I had done the sauce, and I put it with gluten-free macaroni, and no one could tell the difference.
Date squares.
They're really good.
All you need is pitted dates chopped, water, light brown sugar, softened margarine, baking soda, salt, all this stuff, most of us keep right up in our...
That was my goal for this book, is that I wanted things that you have in your kitchen already.
Yeah.
The easiest way to create a recipe from A to Z, because we're all busy.
Yeah.
I work full-time, we all have things to do. So those are my two criteria. What's in my kitchen and how quickly can I get this done?
Do you have to cook separately for yourself and your family, or do they all eat with you?
This is my book. This is it. I make one recipe for all of us.
And that's it. And the kids like it too.
Yes.
Raspberry crumble, creme brulee. So if you have a gluten problem, you're not going to suffer for a lack of fun things to eat.
No.
People think, oh my God, it's a death sentence as far as as you said, my eating habits.
That's another goal. I want everyone to realize, and that was my thing. I don't want to go through my life just hating to eat anymore. You want to enjoy the different kinds of flavors and how to make the food the right way so it tastes just like the traditional people.
Chocolate peanut butter balls. All you need, peanut butter, melted butter, confectioner's sugar, paraffin wax.
Yeah, that's right at the store. It's where the canning products are, because it's like this little wax that you put in, and it makes the chocolate shiny. That's what it does. It gives it a shine to the chocolate.
And it's easy. You can digest it.
It melts. Yeah, it melts right with the chocolate.
And the root ingredients, Rice Krispies or Rice Crisp?
No, because you can't use Rice Krispies. Actually have gluten in it.
Yeah.
So what I use is now they have a brown rice cereal, and so that does not have gluten in it.
Yeah, at the grocery store.
Yes. You know that aisle that has those specialty kind of food? Yeah, that aisle.
They have it there.
They do.
Because I know over at Shaw's they have
yes,
specialty.
That's exactly where it is, at Shaw's, and I've seen it Stop and Shop and Whole Foods. They have them, so I just get it. And in my new book is the crisp rice treats from what you knew as a child, but a whole different way of making them so that you can have them, because Rice Krispies have gluten.
So now, is this going to be, oh, it's great. The cover's a little different.
A little different. One of the orange, like pumpkin, kind of earthy colors.
Do you feel that, did you notice your stomach not acting up almost immediately?
Yes. I mean, it can take a few to cleanse out, because what happens, right, when you have gluten and you have celiac, you have these things in your stomach called the villi, these little hairs that trap the vitamins, per se, right? And when you're celiac and you have gluten, it burns them off, and it can take about, and I explain it more in the next book, it could take less than a week for them to grow back if you stay clean off of gluten. So that's how you also become vitamin deficient because of that reason. And it's happened to me a few times.
What vitamin?
Vitamin D. You know, and definitely I was really low last year with D, and there's just a lot of different things that can happen to you, and I explain that more in the second book.
But you are pain-free now.
Yes.
Bloat and pain-free.
Yes. If I don't get cross-contaminated, go out to eat, you try to find the right places that, you know, don't hurt you.
Sure.
You know.
Salad is good. Well, you got to have fiber, right?
Well, the thing with our kind of stomachs is, at least mine, I have found that salad is good once in a while, but too much fiber for sensitive stomachs isn't always a good thing.
Okay, so with IBS, I need just the opposite.
Yes.
I have to have a lot of, I was sprinkling raw bran on things, and it took care of things.
Yes, and you have to watch out for the dressings, because dressings have gluten in it too.
I've noticed that in the back of an Italian dressing I read recently, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I look for sugar and carbs.
Yeah.
You're looking for gluten.
Yes.
Now I'm going to start looking for other things.
Yes.
Again, how, Lucy, can they get in touch with you and get your book?
Facebook or on my website, www.glutenandglutenfreecookingandperfectharmony.com.
Now we have another side to Lucy. We're going to talk about this. She has just written a book, Bella from the Farm, a children's book. Now, Paula, if you can zero in on this is so cute. These are dogs, right?
Yes,
little dogs.
Yes, little labs.
This is going to be the cover of your book. This is. It's going to be out when now?
I think next week or the week after. Yeah.
It's going to be soon. Now, what made you decide to go from gluten-free books to a children's book?
You know, again, these things are finding me, and I'm going with it because it's wonderful. I have a lab, and I've never had a lab before. And if anyone has a lab, you understand that they are different creatures. Yeah. They are funny, they're silly, they're little Dennis the Menaces, and mine is exactly that. And we did get her from a farm, and her name is Bella. And I would say that it's mostly fiction, but it's not. And what I want to do is write a series of books, which I will, and all her adventures, but I wanted to have a moral to it.
It says, just be yourself and they will like you.
Yes, and so she goes through acting a certain way to have the other dogs like her, but in the end, we have a cat, we have 2 cats, and
so do we.
My cats are in the book, and they give her advice what to do, and she does it, and the other dogs end up liking her, and so the cat did tell her, just be yourself and they will like you. And I want children to know that, and I want everyone to know that, just be yourself, and each one will have a nice moral to that.
What do your children think of this?
They're stunned. They're like, what is going on with my mother?
How old are your children?
I have 4. They're older. It's almost 28, and then they're every 2 years, 28, 26.
I have a 26-year-old.
Yeah, and then 24, and then a 21.
Oh, yeah. That's good, though, that they know their mom. One of them may turn out to be an author, good at this like you are.
They're very artsy people in my family, so who knows? You're right.
What does your husband think?
Oh, he's the best supporter.
Yeah.
He goes with me to all my events.
Sure.
He thinks it's amazing, and he's very proud, and I appreciate everything he does.
Well, your event's coming up. Where are you going to be, by the way?
I have so many events coming up in September, October, November, December. All the fall festivals in Rhode Island. I'm going to do the Barrington Library in November. I'm working on a few different things, more presentations at different places, but mostly, actually, I think it's December 1st. It's Saturday. ARIA has their authors
ARIA is?
ARIA, Association of Rhode Island Authors,
Okay.
and is a really, I think there's like 100 people who participate.
Steve Porter is the one.
Yes.
He and Don have that. I still have yet
Yes,
to be
Stillwater
at the bookstore.
Books. Actually, my book is in that store. It's in a few stores in Providence as well.
Right.
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Are you going to be leaving us a copy downstairs for the dedicated authors?
Absolutely,
Oh,
I
okay.
do have that, yes.
All right, so we've got this one coming up, and it's going to be out soon. Bella from the Farm. Just be yourself, and they will like you. This is a little Labrador. This is going to be for the children. But then also we have coming up is her second gluten-free book. Okay, so this is serious stuff. I know people with stomach problems, and having had them myself, I know that this is no fun. Also, reflux.
Yes.
Now, is this close to does that type of thing happen?
You know what's funny is I used to be on omeprazole for, whatever, acid reflux,
Yeah.
and I stopped gluten, I stopped dairy. I have not taken any medication for that. It went away.
I love chocolate milk.
And unfortunately, it was the dairy that did it.
Dairy, what does it do inside the
I have
stomach?
no idea, but I figured out it was tomatoes and it was dairy that was giving me. And honestly, my tomatoes from my garden don't do it. It's just store-bought tomatoes.
Why would
I'm thinking there's a chemical on it. Even if I wash it, it has to be that, because why my garden that is, non-chemical.
Yeah.
And
the test that you took, she was mentioning, Lucie said about all three, it showed that you had a problem. The breathing one, breathing out,
yeah.
a blood test,
yeah.
and then
There was another one for the SIBO, and a lot of people don't know about it. Actually,
Yeah.
I have a few friends who have celiac, and they never knew about the SIBO, and they ended up having it because you think you're off of gluten for a while and that you shouldn't be sick, but you're sick every single day for a couple of weeks. I got it a second time, so the second time in 5 years.
What's the SIBO?
It's small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So if you think you're really paying attention to your gluten-free diet and you're doing everything you need to, but you're still sick, I would ask your gastroenterologist to test you for SIBO.
Okay, and that's a blood test.
It is not. It's just a breathing. So it's a special machine that they use, but it's more like a breathing test.
Is it anything to do with H. pylori?
It's kind of a similar, like you feel the same way, but it's not that. And it's medication that does. It helps. It fixes it, so it heals you.
Well, listen, let me know when your gluten-free second book comes out. Also, her children's book, Bella from the Farm, and that's going to be a series.
Yes, it is. I'm
Are
thinking
you
at least 5 books.
Are you already into the second one?
I have the ideas going down, but it was, I probably will never publish 2 books at the same time again.
Right.
The editing process, it's been a whirlwind the past few weeks for sure.
And it's such a leap. I mean, either
Yes,
way.
I know.
But don't, this is terrific. As I say before, if you don't have a support group, do you know of any support groups?
There is a person who, she, in my local area, she will meet in South Attleboro, and she meets also in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Attleboro, closer to here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
okay.
there are some in Boston.
Yeah.
If you go online and just Google that, local support groups for celiac, you will find somebody.
Is that gluten-free the same thing as celiac?
If you're a celiac, you have to be gluten-free.
Okay. Lucie, thanks so much for being with us. We're going to have her back because I think this is quite a problem. The gluten-free thing, the tummy problems are out there. I know myself, I have gone through IBS, which is not a picnic, and it can scare the devil out of you because you don't know what it is. But it's functional. It's not something deadly. And that relieved me years ago when I found out, I can have some control.
But at first
here.
you don't know that.
No, you
That's
don't know
the
what's
problem.
going on. You're
Right.
on the floor. You're
Right.
doubled up. My mother's just like, what is wrong with her? But
Right.
the doctor told me, and they could tell. They said, that's what you got. Thank you so much, Lucie.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll see you next time and be my guest.
Thank you.